This is the Big Barton Film Show on Barton FM online and on digital and now on YouTube with your movie host Sudip Bhaduri. Welcome to all of you here and across the globe. Movie reviews every week of the latest releases coming to your cineplexes very soon. This week, The Call of the Wild, legendary boys' own adventure novel written by Jack London. Now, London sadly died aged 40 in the year 1916 when he was at his prime. He died of acute kidney failure. A proud San Francisco man, very proud of his roots, and was the best-selling, highest-paid and most popular American author of his time. Other famous books included The Sea Wolf, Martin Eden, White Fang and John Barleycorn, but The Call of the Wild was the greatest in many people's eyes. There have been many TV and big screen versions of this book going back to Clark Gable in the 30s, Charlton Heston in the 70s and Rutger Hauer in the 90s. There has been a series on American primetime TV as well. However, Harrison Ford stars in the newer version of Call of the Wild with Dan Stevens, Omar Sy and Karen Gillan. The director is very accomplished, Chris Sanders. Think How to Train Your Dragon Part 1, The Croods, and one of my favourite 2D Disney animations, Lilo and Stitch. Excellent CV there by Sanders. So the tale is of Buck, a lovable, large, half St. Bernard, half Scotch collie, happily living in the household of Judge Miller in California. It's the time of the Alaskan Yukon gold rush in the 1890s, with prospectors galore risking life and limb to attain their prized treasures around the Klondike. And one night Buck is kidnapped by those who wish to seek strong dogs to pull sleighs in the snow. These dogs do make a lot of money in the transactions. Buck then has to deal with the hardships of maltreatment, a lack of love and affection from his owners, a form of canine slavery, until a friendly postman called Perrault rescues him from captivity to form the final piece to his jigsaw of his pack of male dogs. Buck then meets Spitz, the leader of the pack, and there will be a showdown on who becomes master of the pack. At the same time, a man called John Thornton, played by Ford, is trying to rediscover life after the death of his child, and he has been split from his wife. His path and that of Buck cross a few times until Thornton saves him from greedy gold thieves, and they become great friends during the hardships of the Yukon province. But Buck is always hearing a call, and eventually will find his destiny, a different pathway from the aging Thornton, who respects Buck's wishes. Now, this was first published in 1903, and the use of modern CGI justifies the heart and essence of this everlasting tale of human-animal bonding. It also depicts the growing tenacity and bravery of a once slap-happy St. Bernard cross. Director Sanders does an immense job in the coordination of graphics and roles to kindle these relationships, and it's still a rousing American adventure that will tug on your emotional heartstrings. The whole affair does feel like a Disney live action, and funnily enough, at one time the House of Mouse were involved in the production of this movie until 20th Century Studios plucked this one out. It's the power and gravitas of Harrison Ford that carries this movie through. No one else could have pulled it off. Sadly for me, and this is the way of the movie world, if it was a Disney umbrella and was released in the spring or summer, it would have been a box office smash. It's February. There are other big films about. Cue Sonic the Hedgehog, sadly. And a trick may have been missed by the producers. It still packs an emotional punch, and for dog lovers everywhere, it's a must-see. Putting aside Marley and Me and A Dog's Purpose, The Call of the Wild will appeal to a lot of families across the world. My rating, 3 star. Also released this week, Like a Boss, starring Rose Byrne, Billy Porter and Salma Hayek, about 2 women who wish to start their own beauty company and come to loggerheads with an established high-flying executive. This is unfunny, predictable, poorly written, uninspiring, and boring. So perfect for a drunken girls' night out then. Women deserve better than this raunchy piece of garbage. So already on the list of turkeys of the year. And the other one released this week, Michael Winterbottom directs Greed, starring Steve Coogan. A very satirical look at the world of the super rich, the super high-flying executives. A real mixed bag here. There's a dark undertone of class wars, unfair business tactics, animal cruelty, racism, etc., etc. Coogan does his best as always. I still think go and see Call of the Wild this half term. You will not be disappointed. You're tuned to the Big Barton Film Show with me, Sudip Bhaduri, so Call of the Wild is the one to see. What about movie news? And an interesting piece of casting caught my eye. Michael Gracie, who directed The Greatest Showman and produced Rocket Man, has been asked to join the production team for the new animation called Cupid. And the voice of that Roman god will be, wait for it, Justin Bieber. Fair play to him. He's now marketing his maturity, and this will be his first film and the debut film from the Mythos Studios, which will be telling stories from the Roman and Greek mythology world. Quite a piece of casting that. Justin Bieber. And Liam Neeson, he still loves starring in action thrillers, both good and very poor. Think Taken, and more recently The Commuter. We now have a film called Memory, and he plays an assassin targeted by a major crime organisation, as well as the FBI hot on his trail. The director is Martin Campbell, who's got a fantastic CV, including Casino Royale, The Mask of Zorro and GoldenEye. So a director to be reckoned with. Liam Neeson might score big with this. And with the Mulan remake approaching fast, the trailers do look awesome. And the USA has given it a PG-13 certificate, suggesting it may well be a 12A here in the UK. Harder hitting, gritty and more intense battle scenes. A far cry from the sickly sweet Disney princess mantle. And the 1998 Disney animation was a PG. Why not 12A? It's a Chinese heroine, fabled for her bravery. It's got an all-star Far Eastern cast, and I understand the battle scenes are going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm licking my lips. I do hope it doesn't disappoint. So that's it from me this week. Next week, Military Wives. Now, you might have seen the trailer for this. True story, based on a group of ladies whose husbands are in battle, and they decide to form a choir. So very much like the Full Monty. In fact, the Full Monty production team are masterminding this film, Military Wives. Stay tuned for that next week. Have a good time.